Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Allen. I am an associate professor of social work, and I teach in the interdisciplinary social science program here at USF St. Petersburg. I received an internal research award in order to do the kind of research that I like to do as a social worker, which is working with agencies in the community. This particular research that I'm doing is somewhat of a new area for me. I specialize in researching the situations for pregnant women and for families with young children. And this is focusing on adoption, birth mothers. I'm sure that you guys have seen the shows 16 and Pregnant, Teen Mom, and maybe some of you were teen moms or thought about being a teen mom at some point or a teen dad. And those shows make it look pretty simple. And there's cute little babies that you get to hold. But the truth is that it's not very simple. It's not an easy job to raise children. And so some adults, even at this time when it's quite acceptable to be a single parent, some adults, when they become pregnant, decide that maybe they need to look at the adoption option. So at that point, they contact an agency such as Gift of Life, which is a private adoption agency in Pinellas Park, which is actually owned by a social worker and staffed by a number of social workers. And they contact this agency to explore the option of relinquishing their child once the child is born to be raised by other parents. The agency contacted me, and I've had contact with them over several years, and they've been talking about their concerns of not always being able to predict whether a birth mother who contacts them is going to go ahead with the plan for her child to be raised by other parents, or whether she's going to make the decision to parent the child herself. And actually, when people, staff, social workers, are working with these birth mothers, it helps them a lot to be able to know which way her decision's going to go. They connect her with adoptive parents and are really moving in that direction. And then if she changes her mind, it's really a very different kind of support that she needs. So they wanted some research that would look at what are the predictors, what are the factors that help us know and help predict whether a birth mother and her family is going to make the choice to go ahead and have her parent the child, or whether they are going to go ahead with the choice to relinquish the child after it's born. This is actually called mixed method research that I'm doing, because we will be looking at closed charts from the agency and doing statistical analysis on a number of factors that we find in the charts, and we'll be comparing women who decided to go ahead and relinquish their child for adoption with those who decided to parent the child on their own, and we'll be looking at how factors vary between those two groups. And then some months later, after doing some statistical analysis on that, we'll be interviewing birth mothers that are going through the process right now to get to ask some more in-depth questions. One thing that when social workers do research, we don't like to reduce everything to numbers. We really like to be able to use a person's own words and be able to paint their own experiences the way they see them. So qualitative research gives us a chance to do that. So that's why I'll be combining both quantitative and qualitative research in this project. The goal of this research is to come up with some tools that will help the social workers that work in the agencies and maybe in other adoption agencies as they work with the birth mothers, to be able to guide them better as how to work with these birth mothers. One of the goals here at USFSP is to involve undergraduate students in the research that we as faculty do. Many of the faculty here do research, most of the faculty here do research, and many of us welcome having undergraduates work with us on this research. And so in making this internal funding available, Dr. Hogarth and Dr. Noonan were hoping that this would be a time for us to involve undergraduates in the research that we're doing. So I have an undergraduate assistant who's working with me, a research assistant. Her name is Jenna Bowman. She is a psychology major, just about ready to graduate, and she's working with me on this project. I want you to meet her and for her to tell you a little bit about how she got involved and what her role is in working with me on this research.
Hi everyone. As Dr. Allen said, my name is Jenna Bowman and I'm working with her on this research project. I got involved with this because I'm a part of the Honors College and I had to write a thesis. I decided to write my thesis on finding birth parents and psychological effects involved with that because I personally am adopted and it became more of a personal kind of thing for me. So as a part of this thesis, I had to find a professor to work with me on it to kind of oversee everything. So I approached Dr. Allen about it and she agreed to help me with it. About that time, she was also applying for the grant. So she asked me if I wanted to help her with the research on it. From there, we decided that I would do a review of literature and then I would help her develop a tool that would have all the factors that would determine whether a birth mother would relinquish her child or keep her child. It was a really fun process. It allowed me to, put the stuff that I learned from school into a real life situation, and it just got me more comfortable in this kind of field. So if you ever get a chance to become a research assistant or you want to become a research assistant, talk with your professor, get involved. It's just been a lot of fun and it's really worth it.